So this session is called Unlocking Nirvana, and it's a live Q&A session, and we invite anybody who is online watching this to ask questions. Feel free to ask questions. If you have tried observing your breath, if you have considered spiritual progress seriously, and if you think there's a better way to live life than being lost in the material pursuit, then you are in the right place. Though this content might not appeal to everyone, of course, it would not appeal to everyone. This is not going to be content that is crowd pleasing. We have no intention of just making you feel good for the sake of promoting this channel or content or promoting any other aim of ours. There is no agenda here other than genuinely trying to help someone in their journey towards self-realization. Why we do it is because we think it's a very challenging journey. There are very few guidelines and there are so many ways in which you could go wrong. It's challenging in the sense that it's challenging because it's not a pursuit in the physical direction. Also because today we have ended up in a scenario where we have no idea, no clue as to what's right, what's wrong, who is telling the truth, who is not. There's too much information. And in reality, this path requires very little information, but dedicated efforts. Our minds keep fluctuating. Like, I feel I want this today, Nirvana or self-realization should be my goal. I get motivated because of some talk and I think this is what I want. Later in the day, I might feel I want something else. And later, I might feel something else is my true wish. When you are fluctuating like that, or when you want nirvana, want self-realization out of the desire for it, you will not get it. That is not how this happens. Self-realization is something that happens to people who undertake a particular journey, and that journey begins with dispassion, with the loss of interest in the worldly affairs of men. That is the origin. If you do not feel that kind of dispassion, if you feel like there are material goals, social realities in this society that you want to strictly achieve, this content is strictly not for you. But if you think No matter what goal you achieve, you will still be incomplete. No matter what material satisfaction you gain, still you will have some void in you, and you are more inclined towards understanding the void within than towards that material pursuit, then this is something you have to start considering. I do not expect many people to find that void. Few people see the pointlessness of material pursuit, see the pointlessness of name, fame, social recognition, whatever that the material world has to offer. Only if you are someone who is habituated to or has started to see things beyond that perspective, anything that is called spirituality or yoga or tantra is for you. Otherwise, it is not. You can live your lives in simple ways. You don't have to do yoga or tantra. And whatever physical actions you do are exercise for the body. It's not, if you call something yoga and do physical actions, it's not yoga. You're doing exercise. It's good for your health. No problem with that. But that's not yoga. No matter what asana you do, it's not yoga. It's called yoga. A yogi used to do something, mimicking that has become yoga nowadays, but don't think it's yoga, it's just exercise. It's good for your health, do it. That will not take you to self-realization. You need a different kind of mindset. You need dispassion. To look better, to be more healthy, can never be the reason you move towards God. It will, maybe that's why you are thinking you are moving towards God, but that reason will never take you closer to realization. Realization is something that happens to one kind of person only. Only one kind of person. The person with detachment and dispassion, with no concern to the physical body, to the material success, to the social name, fame, or status. Nothing of this world should matter to you. If you look within, deep within, no matter who you are, that would be the absolute reality that you find. But if you do not have that courage to look so deep within, don't even try on this path. Because you will be misled. At any other point in time in history, you could always try anything related to spirituality. You would go somewhere in that direction. You would take a few steps ahead. We are currently in a time where the possibility that you get misled is enormous. And by the nature of knowledge in this direction, the very nature of the knowledge that comes to you in this direction is such that only if you started with dispassion, you will understand it. Otherwise, you will not understand it. It will not make sense to you. If you're somebody who wants to be an actor or an actress, you like the fame of being in media, and then I tell you that your body is just blood, bone, tendons, and nerves. What more is your body? It is something that is true, but something you might not be able to digest. Out of dispassion comes the true thirst for self realization. If you get into epics such as the Ramayana, even Rama wasn't taught this lesson of spiritual inquiry. He wasn't taught the knowledge towards self realization till he ended up being dispassionate about the worldly affairs of men. He lost interest in becoming a king, ruling the kingdom. He lost interest in all affairs. And when he looked lost, that's when his father calls in a sage to give him guidance towards self-realization and to give him guidance, and then the sage who realizes the state in which Rama was gives him the guidance to self-realization. And that conversation is called Yoga Vasishta. If you look at any such person who was enlightened for sure, that should have, if transforming it from a normal human to a godlike person, an enlightened being, or a self realized person should happen, that should come out of dispassion. Certain people, legends, have had dispassion by birth, and it's attributed to the merits of their previous lives. And so certain people needed very small triggers, like a very silly reason, to suddenly become a realized person. Depending upon your merit, depending upon the merit accrued by you during all your previous lifetimes and this lifetime, you will be inclined towards realization. So, if you are someone who is wholeheartedly making efforts in this direction, I'd say there are two options. One, be in the physical presence of a guru, get as much guidance as possible. When you know that someone can be your guru, you can spend time with them. Only then learn there, or stick to a scripture of your choice, preferably a scripture that wasn't originally written but was in oral transmission and then got written much later, something that is at least 2 or 3 thousand years old, something that came before the dawn of religion. Because before the dawn of religion was a time when spirituality wasn't a trend, it was the nature of life. The dawn of religion marks an era where a kind of scheme is launched and people hop onto that scheme. Either stick to a teacher who you know can guide you in this path, or pick a scripture before the dawn of religion. Uh, and for anybody who happens to come across this video, I can tell you that the pandemic of the day and the disease that you have to consciously fight is restlessness. Peace has become the rarest of qualities. Peace of mind. With the quiescence of mind. Even great troubles seem trivial. When the mind is disturbed, it will throw up a goblin in every dark corner. Your true courage, your true struggle is in holding your mind steady. And if you consider yourself gifted enough to do that, bliss is waiting for you. the sake of anybody who might watch this video later, let me summarize. Let me summarize the journey to enlightenment. You are born to gasp your first breath. That is your true curiosity. Now, the journey to enlightenment begins when you look inwards and start observing just the breath. You do not think of anything, or you are not even thinking. You're just observing. You neglect the mind. As observation intensifies, you start observing within your body. Your awareness moves all around your body, in your spine. And at a point where you start observing the breath being completely removed out of your body, you breathe in different patterns, and then you realize that you are at a state where you can lose your breath completely. The moment you lose your breath completely, that is where you will be given a choice. And when you pick a choice consciously, you experience rebirth. By then, your Kundalini would have been activated, and it would already have traversed for a long time through your spine, through its channels. So, when you experience death through the loss of your breath completely, that is when you will have an opportunity to drop your memories. And when you drop your memories is when your third eye will physically open up. I mean physically open up, not from this plane, but even if the Agnya Chakra has been moving continuously through the experience of Kundalini rise, you would not be seeing through your third eye. So after this moment is when you enter through your channel created through the movement of Kundalini, and then see through your third eye in reality. Then you move into your crown and experience the sound of bells, and that is a godly stage. And when you rise from there, then you will reach the state of a guru, a teacher. This is your true journey. And while you observe all this happening, if you can stabilize in that Devata state, that is the purpose of this birth. That is perfection and self-realization. If you have experienced all this, but then you assumed an identity, you thought of yourself as somebody, some identity. You become that identity and fall back to your human limitations, and you will stop experiencing such divinity, such miracles. But then I think, I'm not sure of what I'm about to say now, but because scriptures say that you fluctuate between these two states, between the Vira and the Divya, and then stabilize in Divya, I'm expecting that to be the truth. It's the journey to self-realization in short. If you heard that and if you have questions, you can join me later for a chat, for a discussion. See you.